Good morning. You're watching my To Do About Something, and I'm Donna. Well, it's time to decorate for fall, and I'm in the mood to do that. It's raining outside, so I can't do the outside porch yet, but I am going to show you a little project. Now, fall is synonymous with pumpkins and apples and dried leaves, acorns and pine cones, and all the things that come with fall, and I love all those things. I especially love pumpkins. I've had a love affair with pumpkins since I can remember, ever since I was little. I used to love the big, beautiful orange color, and just to be in a field, a pumpkin field full of pumpkins, is a real treat, just to be surrounded by all that orange. And it was a great photo opportunity for our kids when they were young, and it's an amazing thing to just start your season off for fall. So I'm choosing to decorate traditional with pumpkins and dried leaves and things, using some things that I already have, and incorporating a few new things that I've purchased. I'm just going to do simple decorating, but today I wanted to share with you a tip on how to make some fabric pumpkins. Now, I have a few things here that I'll be using in making these pumpkins for you today. Last year I had the forethought to think to save all of the pumpkin stems off of the pumpkins that we harvested, and I cooked, made pumpkin bread with, pumpkin pies, all the good pumpkin things. I went ahead and saved the stems. And that's what I'll be using today in making my pumpkins. But you can cut stems from pieces of wood. You can have small pieces of wood or anything that resembles a stem. You can use that you have around the house. You can even take old stems off of old artificial pumpkins that you might have that you're not going to use anymore. I also have some zip ties here. I think that's what I'm going to use to put my pumpkins together. I also have some wire ties in case I should need that. Some scissors. You can also use rubber bands, and I'll show you what you might need those for here in a bit. I've got a glue gun with glue sticks over here, and I've got a few leaves that fell off of my wreath. I didn't go buy anything for this project. I'm using all things that I have on hand. Now, I've got a variety of materials that I've saved that I thought that might look like fall, that I could use to make these pumpkins out of. I've saved some old shirts, some pieces of material, just some things I thought looked like fall. Now, you can use any fabric that you have for this project. Any scraps of material that'll be big enough to make the size pumpkin that you have in mind. I also have some stuffing that I've had for a while, and I'll be glad to use this up because I've shifted this around the house for a while. So that's a good way for me to use that stuffing. But you can use anything that you have. You can use rice, you can use beans, anything that you want to stuff your pumpkin with, you can do that. But I'm going to use that bag of stuffing because I want to use that up. Now, we're going to cut a circle out of our cloth. Now, you can lay down something and trace around it if that's what you'd like to do. For example, I have this pot lid right here. We can lay this around, lay this down on it and get a general idea. And this will make a smaller sized pumpkin. By doing this, you'll also keep your pumpkins a consistent size. You can be sure that they'll be the same size if you use something like this as a pattern. Or you can simply just freehand out a circle, because in the end it's not really going to matter, and I'll show you why. So I just took a pen and traced around this pot lid. And now I have a circle on my piece of material. You can see that circle there. And I'm just going to take my scissors and cut out this circle. Now you don't have to be exact. It's not an exact science. It's not anything that you have to be meticulous about. It's a really simple project. Really easy. So I have my little circle here that I've cut out from my material that I've saved for fall. And I'm just going to take my stuffing and put about as much as I would like for the size pumpkin that I'd like to have. Now that looks like a pretty big amount, but we're going to press this down a little bit. There's something else that you can do. You can add oils. You can add little scented oils to your little pumpkin. I'm just going to use this little spray bottle on mine. This will make your pumpkins smell really good. It'll just give them a little added fall. Now this is the tricky part. You want to take this and kind of squish it down and just pick up your little pumpkin cloth. You'll be squishing your filling in with one hand and picking up your little edges of your circle that you cut out from your pumpkin material. You can use whatever color goes with your decor. That's a good thing about doing a little project like this. You can custom make it to suit your environment. Okay, now I've gathered up my little circle that I cut into a little bunch here with my stuffing, my scented stuffing down there in the middle. And I'm going to do it much like you would do a little ponytail. Now I have used string before, and it's really awkward to hold this thing and to put a string around it. One of the easiest things I think to use is a rubber band. And you do it just like you would a ponytail. And it'll hold it tightly. Now rubber bands have a tendency to break sometimes, and they'll dilapidate over time. So I've got this little zip tie here, and if you want to keep your pumpkin for a bit longer, you can just add something that'll help hold that thing together if that rubber band breaks. So now we have a semblance of a pumpkin here. We've got our little pumpkin, our little cloth pumpkin. Now I've got quite a bit sticking up here, so I'm going to take the scissors and I'm going to trim down. I'm not going to trim down so far that it causes it to come out of its hold from that rubber band and that zip tie, but I am going to trim this down. Now I've got a leaf here, and it's quite a good sized leaf. But you know, a pumpkin might have a big leaf. And I'm just going to hot melt this. I've got my glue gun over here. And I'm just going to kind of hot melt this to my little pumpkin. Now you want to be careful with your hot melt gun. Those things can burn you. A good tip for a hot melt gun, if you're going to use one, is to keep a little cup, a little container of ice water nearby. And then if you was to get some of that hot melt on you, you can just stick your fingertips or wherever it's at into that hot water. Into that ice water, and it'll stop your burning immediately. Now, because my leaf is so big, I'm going to take a minute and just kind of scrunch it up and push it together a little bit. And you don't have to add a leaf. I've made some that I did not add a leaf to. So that's just an idea to make it look more like fall. Now I've got my little pumpkin here, and I'm going to take one of my little stems that I saved from my pumpkins last year, and I'm going to add it to this pumpkin right here where the stem would go. Now it is a real stem, but this is not a real pumpkin. So it's going to take a little work to make it look like it came. On this pumpkin. Now I'm going to add a little something to this. I'm going to add something like a ribbon. I'm not going to buy a ribbon for this. I'm not buying anything for this project. I'm just trying to use what I have. But if you want to go buy specific things, well, it would be wonderful to do that. You could customize it to exactly the way you wanted it. But I'm going to use just a piece of material from another piece of scrap that I saved, and I'm going to make like a ribbon from it. And I want to tie it around our little pumpkin. It'll help add to that stem area and make it a little more attractive. And you can do these any size you want them to be. You can see by my hands that this is not a real big pumpkin, but you can make them big if you'd like. Now here's a little patch of the pumpkins that we made from fabric, our little fabric pumpkins. They're cute. We recycled, we reused, and they'll look adorable for fall in the fall decorating scheme. Remember, you can customize yours to however you would like it. To fit your decor and your environment, you could do all white. You could do all white and just add a little colored ribbon in fall colors, burgundy, rust, orange. You could use plaids or any kind of print that you wanted to on your white pumpkin, and that would really add a lot to it. Now I took a paintbrush and just brushed a little bit of gold paint over this stem. You can also use these stems as diffusers. We already have pumpkin in our, pumpkin scented drops in our filling, so these already smell really good. But you can use that dried pumpkin stem there as an oil diffuser to put a few more drops on it if you'd like, and that would scent them even more, and you would have a beautiful little fall pumpkin for decorating, and it would smell really good. Well, that's my fall decorating idea for you today, making a fabric stuffed pumpkin for fall. Thank you for joining me, and like always, until next time.